Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I am Nerdarchist Ted, and tonight we are going to play some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. This is episode 2 of Untraditionally Arcane, where all of our lovely players here are all wizards. So this is going to be a fun game, fun campaign. You can find a link for all of the players' channels where you can find them down in the description, as well as a synopsis of who they are playing, and if it happens to be kind of off-brand, where you might manage to find that material. This is a game, as you might have seen from that intro, that is sponsored by our lovely friends over at Easy Roller Dice. Whether it's your first set of dice or your 1 million set of dice, Easy Roller Dice for all your dice rolling needs. They are my dice of choice. I love them. They work great for me. So get yourself some Easy Roller Dice and have some fun with it. You can find a link down in the description below, as well as a promo code to get a discount. So without further ado, let us dive into tonight's game. Last session, you guys had been brought to a council chamber, the Council of Eight, as it was referred to, the 8 primary schools of magic. And each of you were brought with your mentor, or brought by your mentor, and tasked with traveling to 8 locations across the globe that were tied to the individual schools of magic to help restore the balance of magic, because all of the wizards who are tied to those 8 schools were having problems casting spells, and they were basically acting almost like wild magic sorcerers with all kinds of bizarre, weird effects going off. And the stronger the spell, the more powerful the off effect could possibly be. You were given access to the library, as much ink and paper as you needed, and told, any spell that you could legitimately cast, you were, fully free to copy into your own personal spell book to aid you upon your quest on heading out. I know some of you leapt at the chance right away and didn't care about anything else, right from the start. You had plenty of food. You were given a variety of items to aid you on your quest. Told to, ponder and think about, where you might want to go first. And then upon the morrow, you would, be able to ask any final questions. And before you would begin setting out, while your personal mentors were being tasked with staying behind to guard the council, since as non-traditional wizards, all of you are, your magic and that of your mentors has been functioning properly. So, who wishes to take it?
Y'all gonna make me carry this, aren't you?
I just thought I lost audio.
I'm going to level with you. I'm actually not sure if we're introducing ourselves or if the game has started.
No, the game has started.
Okay.
You guys are in the, back in the council room. At this point in time, you've been here for several days. You've had time to basically spend as much time in the library doing generic research, or, on any of these locations, on copying spells into your spell book, literally learning things that you might not have, been apprised of before, or just, again, pondering the mission at hand. You all had agreed that you were going to do it, but, this would be a chance that, for some reason, your character wished to back out now, not having left upon the quest. But you're all gathered together, the 8 mentors, the 8 council, the 5 of you, and your 5 mentors.
So, do we have like a map to the locations that we're headed to?
You were provided a map and a list of information in regards to the eight places that you would be expected to visit. One of them, there is no asterisk or star on the map, and they explain that the entrancing tower is something that is going to be a bit of a problem. The issue is that the tower is rarely in the same place. It moves around. It attracts followers almost like it has a sentience of its own. So that one, might wind up being a bit of chance. There might be something that they could put some thought to see if there's a way to almost summon or call forth it. But from evocation, the boomstone, though many times it is a symbol of evocation magic high on a mountain plateau. The stone seems to be locked in a time loop as it explodes with one force or another, only to be brought back again moments later, only to explode again, only to be brought back, and so on and so forth. The Seeing Shrine is located deep within a vast jungle, warning that over the centuries...
Divination?
Indeed, is divination. Over the centuries, primitive cultures has taken to its divine power as a religion. Wars have literally been fought over the land it is currently on. The Tablet of Protection, the most portable of these relics, resides, last checked, in the Wizard's Tower attached to the castle in the Kingdom of Dralic. The Summoning Sigil. This one is raw chaos, as it is unstable, unclosable portal. It lies on the edge of the chaos wastes. Some think this is why the chaos wastes are the way they are.
What was that one called again?
The Summoning Sigil.
Summoning Sigil.
For necromancy, the Gravane Graveyard. It is a cursed place. Over the centuries and eons that this place has existed, any town or settlement that's built in that area eventually has had something horrible happen. The cemetery that lies in this valley houses far more dead than any gravestones would imply, as it looks like good and fertile land. People have settled, people die, as is natural, and people get buried. Gravestones come up. Eventually something horrible happens and the town is, lost, forgotten, wastes away. Once it fades from memory, history repeats itself. For illusion, the heart of the Pale Wood. It's believed to be a tree, but since we're talking about illusion, one can never be, properly sure. It lies on the edge of the Fey Wild. There, your senses can easily be fooled, so be cautious. And it goes without saying that be careful of the Fey. They are tricksy. And then last but certainly not least, for transmutation. Deep within the earth is a chamber that the normal rules do not apply, do not work. It has been called many names, such as the Changing Room or the Changing Chamber, but typically arcanists refer to it as the Transmutation Core.
Okay. I missed writing down the moving tower. Which school is that, and what was it called again?
It is the Entrancing Tower and Enchantment.
That makes sense.
Oh, entrancing. I thought you said in transit tower, which made sense because you said it's never in the same
That made
place.
sense. Yeah.
In transit.
Always
it's-
moving.
Yeah. I'm up for that.
So
I
in
get that.
transit, entrancing tower. That if you want to add an extra layer on there, go for it.
It sounds like our onomancer Joshua has decided to communicate using one of those bullhorns.
No. I'm sorry. I got really excited.
Like, Chess is absolutely icily sitting here, just like jotting down a bunch of notes, and has like the map open, and like probably floating there because we're wizards, and I have to imagine that it does that. Like,
Sure. Whether you have some somebody's mage hand or mage hands holding
yes,
it up.
I love it.
Mage hands, multiple.
Yeah, I mean it's totally possible. Now, I do feel that if this is not going to be a quick journey. There's going to be times where you might encounter something that you are not quite ready for. Your mentors have spoken highly of you, but whether it be to a mentor or to one of us, communication is key. And while your arcane power might grow over the course of this journey, it has its limitations. Whereas this, it pulls out, what looks to be a, almost nondescript pouch, brown leather with some almost like electric blue lacing. If you were to place a message within this bag, it will appear here upon this table. Should you fold your message and place a name upon the outside of your parchment, we will respect the privacy of the note put in and deliver it to whichever of the 13 that are here that you wish it delivered to. We have the ability to respond in kind and send messages to this bag so that we can answer your call.
So we're all agreed to respect the privacy of the name game.
Okay.
That works for me.
I mean, it's a messenger bag, essentially, right?
Indeed.
Okay. I'm good with that. I'm all about accessorizing.
A literal messenger bag. I love it.
So I guess what we need to do then is decide which of these 7 things that we're going to choose to go to first, because it's like we don't go to the tower comes to us, right?
Okay, so then we know that that's one that we can just kind of leave off the list and it's going to find us, right?
Well, we are going to ponder as to how you might be able to attempt to call it towards you, but that is still in question. So yes, until we can find a way to make that happen, it is best to work on the others first.
So yeah, bottom of the list. That's the one we don't need to focus on first.
So, all right. Do you guys mind if I just spill some thoughts out of the gate here? And we can
Oh no, I've been known for my word
By
vomit,
all
so go
means.
for it.
By all means, spill forth all of your thoughts.
And Joshua will gesture and spill some wine as he does.
I just make a little bit of a face and carry on as if that didn't happen. Maybe press to digitate it. So I don't think that we should start with the Heart of the Pale Wood, because while illusion doesn't sound like something that's going to be super prone to hurting us, I'm not entirely sure I'm ready for that, and it seems like it's going to be less straightforward than some of these other things. The graveyard sounds really dangerous. I'm honestly leaning toward the Seeing Shrine or possibly the Boomstone. What do you guys think?
Well, I think the Seeing Shrine is a wise idea. Doing that might open up more reliable divination magic, which could help us, seek deeper into what of the mysteries there are.
Aha, the more you know.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that.
I like that.
Joshua kind of blushes at this praise and the sort of acceptance that he had a good idea.
I mean, I'm just kind of here for the ride, I guess. I don't mind. I'm not particular. The company seems pretty good.
It seems to be perfectly obvious to me that no matter where we go, our services are going to be needed. I will trust your judgment.
Talk, you got a thought?
Willing to go wherever you guys go.
Well, if nothing else, we are certainly a decisive bunch.
So, I think in that case we'll head for the Seeing Shrine, because that could actually give us insight to the rest of these objectives, and that could make it safer to go there.
I think that's a solid conclusion.
So the small halfling that hasn't really spoken much, stands up or, gets your attention. The Seeing Shrine definitely offers some insight into the world. Perhaps its properties will offer you beyond, as you said, the ways or maybe even an order in which this should be done. Perhaps it can tell you the why of things. There is so much to consider here, but this is definitely, I think, a prudent choice.
Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
Before we head out, I would like to address each of the masters and like just see if they have like any words of warning for us before we go.
So, Zam, the satyr, the one who specializes in conjuration magic, kind of steps forward. We don't expect all of this to go smoothly. Therefore, I think there should be several things that are done. Number one, it seems like you've picked your destination, and we can get you close to make things a bit easier, though it will come with a bit of risk, hopefully to only myself. Secondly, and he reaches into, it looks like his hip, but apparently there was a pouch there that was not seen, and a bizarrely metal folded cube comes out, and he just kind of tosses it in your general, the collective you direction.
I catch it.
My
No,
beard,
love puzzles.
my beard reaches out to snatch it before Joshua can grab it.
Well, I believe your beard has more range than his arm. So
Can we beard tussle? Your beard versus my horns? Because I don't have a beard.
My trunk reached for it too, and it's the longest, but I have such a low dex, I'm sure I missed.
Oh my gosh.
I think
I was reaching with mage hand.
I think I can
I just
reach up to 20 feet with my beard.
Just exchange a look with Speranza.
They're gonna do this a lot, aren't they?
I'm sure.
So the cube is probably like a good 6-7 inches on a side, and looks to be brass and copper. Maybe there's some steel or iron in the bottom layers of it, but it's not like a smooth cube. It looks very, very weird. But Zam doesn't tell you exactly what it is. And then, as I said, I can get you close to where you're going. And then he pulls out another object, and it's a single scroll. So this will get you back here, and only here, as this is some unique conjuration of mine, and it'll get you through the security that typically stops teleportation directly into our sanctum. I bid that you be absolutely careful with this, that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. And don't be foolish and put it in the bag to send it back here, unless it's to keep it out of someone else's hands.
I will release the cube from my beard tendrils and wrap beard tendrils around the scroll. I can assure you, nobody will find it. As the beard sort of curls around it, and it just draws right up inside my glorious beard.
Your beard of holding is probably getting quite full. I would happily hold on to that cube for you.
Oh, I released the cube. You and the
Oh, okay. All
yeah,
right.
I let go of it so that I could grab that. You and Avtok can fight over the cube.
So you beat me to beautiful there. I was unmuting just and you're dang it.
Can we rock, paper, wizard?
Rock, paper, wizard. So
What is this scroll?
it's a unique form of teleport.
It's a scroll of nope.
It is a scroll of teleportation, but it already has its destination chosen.
I have it written as a scroll of returning.
That works as well.
I was gonna write scroll of town portal. It's basically
I was thinking of the recall spell from Elder Scrolls.
All of those things.
It's a Hearthstone.
Yeah.
All of those things totally work.
all right. Secured safely within my beard. As I go back to several tendrils of my beard this whole time, there's one that's holding a nail file and is filing my nails. One that's pulled up a comb that's just continuously and occasionally combing the beard. There's tiny little trimming shears that occasionally just float around, and then just one tiny little split end just ding. But it's not even allowed to hit the ground. None of my beard, it's too glorious and magical to fall into the wrong hands.
You know, that's probably smart. A bit of you is the best sympathetic connection a person can have.
Somewhere within my beard is a small canister that has all of the little clippings and trimmings safely kept away from those who would use them against me.
Well, that is incredibly prudent. This is the half-orc that kind of steps forward. You ask that we offer any kind of advice,
Yes, sir.
as you would expect from evocation, being decisive, striking when necessary, and going all out. That is what I would suggest. We are wizards. Use your brains. But when you decide to act, finish it. Do as you have set upon. I would ask, all of you have, for whatever reasons, and you need not share them here, all of you have gone in the direction of another school, away from, as many call it, the primary schools of magic. Think over those decisions. And I'm not asking you to give up your ways, but if you were to have restarted your career and gone down a different path, and he holds out his hands, gesturing towards the 8 seated before you. You have that bag. You can communicate with us. If there is any here that would have interest in focusing their magic another way, you're all being presented with an opportunity by going to these locations. It's possible to attune in a different way.
Sorry, but my mama would call that horse shit. I mean, you came to us because we're able to still do what we do, and you're saying maybe we should consider becoming what you.
No.
I mean, I'm all for helping, but really?
No, I'm not trying to change what you have. I'm saying it's possible that you could be more.
He's telling us we could cross-class into wizard and pick a different tradition.
What is the orc's name?
Oneth Bloodsword?
Okay. I'm writing it all down this time.
Sure. So Oneth Bloodsword is the half-orc evocator. Azidium is the human illusionist.
How do you spell that?
Azidium.
Got it.
Eruixe, Mosswood. It's Iruwixe, is a gnomish transmuter. Etiye Moonflower, Etiye, is the wood elf enchanter.
Okay. Ted, when you tell me these, can you tell me the school first? Because that's what I have written down, and I don't know where to write it when you're giving me the letters, and then I forget.
Sure. So enchantment is Etiye Moonflower.
Got it.
And she is a wood elf. From divination, there's the halfling Garavald Proudmead. From conjuration, there is the satyr Zam Nixog. XAAMNIXXAOG. The last two, the necromancer, the half-elf Raelith Zinkas. And from abjuration, the Warforged Lock.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So they wind up each, giving some kind of speech, all of which kind of stems towards what you would expect from someone of that particular school. From divination, trust your senses. From enchantment. Talk to others, gather clues, get information. From the necromancer. He talks about gathering power and using it to control the area around you. Things along those lines that all seem to make sense, some of which contradicts the other. From the abjuration, as opposed to the evocator who was talking about power and strike hard, and the lock is talking about step cautiously, use defense, all that stuff.
So what I'm actually gathering is we need to do this like us.
I mean, yeah, that would be the most logical situation because, us got here so well. You know what I mean? You got us here. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we were to follow their conventional wisdom, we would find that we wouldn't be able to cast our spells right now.
Well, that's just it.
Also, is it just me, or did they miss out on a lot of great opportunities for puns? I mean, if I was the necromancer, I would have said go with your gut.
Chess, very obviously trying not to laugh.
Are you saying?
Esperanza's she's like.
I'm saying this out loud, but like kind of quietly to the group. I'm sure that keen-eared wizards would hear me.
So Raelith responds, "Why would I go with my own? I prefer others."
Okay,
well, then
see that.
Tell us to go with someone else's gut. Either way, it's.
After he talks, Avtalk finally gets the joke and starts laughing.
He could have said no guts, no glory.
I thought reading entrails was divination.
There are some that do still use those methods, yes, but it is not considered in polite society.
I need some beardomancer to come help me out here in my normal work. Just an FYI to everyone watching, I am black screened because I'm currently working. So
kudos to to Asa for being able to work and join us at the same time. Thank you for making that sacrifice.
You're welcome. Next time I'll actually pay attention to what people are asking of me and plan my day accordingly.
No worries, no worries. So, were there any final questions that any of you had? Not that we are trying to rush you out by all means. We wish you to be as properly prepared as you feel that you need to be. But remember that those outside this chamber that don't have access to their usual power are indeed offering or being issued challenge and are unable to do the things that they are used to doing.
All right. I think I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
We've been here for a couple of days. If we're not ready now, I'm doubtful we'll ever be ready.
Have our equipment been properly handled?
I'm good to go.
There's a joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going to touch it.
Avtalk gets that one right away.
You're not gonna touch the equipment joke, okay? That's fair.
I start walking.
Has our stuff been enchanted? Whatever it was that we set aside to be enchanted?
Yes.
Well, I got a staff.
Is there something that does mechanically I should write down?
It's a +1 focus.
Okay. I couldn't remember for sure.
Well, then if you are all ready to go, then by all means. And Zam leads you out through a door that had been previously closed, and the stone just kind of slides open, and there is a vast amount of arcane sigils, glyphs, and whatnot. You can see that there is a sigil drawn on the floor. Some of you might, be aware of teleportation circles, but this one definitely seems to have some intricate work put in there. Very, very powerful gemstones. Looks like there's, expensive metals inlaid into it. Doesn't look like any sigil that you've read about, or if you've managed to have seen them, anything that you've seen. And Zam says, all right, you are looking to go towards the Seeing Shrine. It's located within a vast jungle. I would imagine you should be prepared for the wilds there. Beasties, harsh terrain, slow movement. My magic will get you close. I cannot take you directly to the thing. But gather your things, and all of you step within the circle.
All right.
In preparation for the harsh jungle, my beard braids itself into neat braids to prevent tangling amongst the dense jungle foliage.
Well, I wish you all luck. You have ways to communicate with us and your mentors. We've been provided some useful items to aid you upon your cause. Good luck.
On a big floppy wizard hat.
And he just, waves his hand, You're expecting some grand gestures and moving around, but this is just a simple. And as his hand kind of crosses your vision, the stone of this building, the vast gemstones, the arcane glyphs, the cool, coldness of underground vanishes, and you find yourself within a thick canopy. It's sweaty, it's hot, humid. Vines wrap around everything. Where you appear like you're in dense overgrowth. 10 feet to your right, you see a vast, slow-moving stream. Fish and frogs move about. Some going against the current, others going with. You hear birds, and somewhere in the canopy or above, chirping, whistling, singing their song. Lots of life, lots of things that grow, but no other people, no buildings. Sadly, no direction either. There's no path. There's no anything in sight that looks like it should be a shrine.
Well,
So
welcome to the jungle.
You're gonna
Chess.
die.
who has gone from very impressed by that cool hand wave to extremely disappointed in sudden swamp ass very quickly. Like, gets a look around, sort of like purses her lips and sighs.
Yeah,
I mean,
Avtech will talk. I can't even say my own name. Will crack his neck side to side, pick a direction, and I'll start walking. As the probably largest one here, he's just going to try and blaze a path for everyone.
I'm gonna just pick up our halfling friend here for shoulder travel and then follow right behind Avtok so I don't get, like, snapped by any sticks or anything.
You're just gonna take off in any
Oh,
direction.
Was that rude?
I said someone pick a direction. I'm not choosing.
But then you
just
took.
have little. I have little legs, and some of you don't. And this place is like super dense.
Yeah, I picked you up.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So which direction are you heading? Anyone want to make a survival or nature check? Anything along those lines?
I will do.
Can I smell the direction to go so I have advantage?
Enthusiastically, not knowing if I even have either of those skills. I have survival. I am proficient in survival. I can make an attempt.
I have nature. So that was a 14.
Okay.
I would like to supplement whatever decision Ranza's making as she's looking around and figuring the best path to go. Again, some of the whiskers begin to work the little scissors and trim some hairs off, but this time I gather them all in my hand and I begin to gesture across the top of them. And it's not the words that are so important so much as it is how you say them. And I'm casting Beardgury. Just to try to get confirmation on whatever Speranza's survival check said.
All right.
Now, normally this is a D20 roll, but the GM has full authority to interpret this how they will. Well,
so you're looking to confirm the information that Speranza is ascertaining?
Yeah.
So what you know, Speranza, in regards to life in this kind of area, things are going to exist on or near the water. typically, if you follow something downstream, you're going to be able to find a settlement. Hopefully, as long as you're not like, oh, it was 10 feet that way or 100 feet that way that you just can't see. But as the water flows, water is life. Without it, you're not gonna make it. So the question is do you want to go upstream hoping that you're close, or downstream?
And I smell civilization.
Can you smell civilization? It's a good try, but given the amount of
beard
life,
oil and beard cream that I have in, that's probably all you can smell.
I would say,
it smells like sandalwood and bourbon.
Well, all right. So you've got that aspect, and the odorousness of the plant life in a swamp is more than enough to mask the scent of any settlement that happens to be in the area. But good try. So Speranza, you've been given the information. What is your decision? So we might be able to look at
that was my beard clippers.
The Beardomancer's beard guri spell.
Well, see, I grew up with the whole mentality you go with the flow of things. So I'm thinking, what if we head downstream a little bit and see what's to find that way? Can always keep an eye on the shoreline. Maybe something's washed up that could be a clue here or there.
So, as Speranza,
I was muted. Okay. I said I like that plan. At the very least, we won't get lost if we do that.
Mm-hmm.
As Speranza gives out this information, and you cast your spell, your beard kind of just relaxes a little bit. Things don't uncoil or unbraid or any of that kind of stuff. But when you've cast this spell before and it's given you a negative reaction, it tends to coil in and tighten up when it's given a negative reaction. So you think this is the more positive, and you think that's the better path to go.
Yes. It seems that this is a very wise counsel you have given, Speranza. And I just kind of look around, because this is reminding me I have to be very cautious in the jungle, what the humidity is going to do to my beard.
Well, I mean, it's basically kind of common sense, but my mama said that common sense is a flower that doesn't grow in everyone's garden. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of wise in its own way.
Your mother seems like a very sassy woman, and I already like her.
Oh, she's a lot of fun. She doesn't take it from anyone. Though she gives, what's that? She gives as good as she gets type of thing. I don't know. I guess she's pretty strong-willed.
I love this character. Do you have these things prepared, or are you just coming up with them?
Just real good at the
improvising.
Love it. Absolutely love it. That's why I love this group. You guys are all always so on point. Back to the game. Back to the game.
Back out, and I'm like looking around and occasionally like sketching plants and stuff as we go, and like writing things down, making notes as you do when you're a nerd.
As we walk, I'm just kind of looking around going, when I was a young man, we would play a board game called Jumanji. And I always imagined it looked a lot like this. And I'm just kind of nervously rubbing my chin.
Did you imagine there would be sweat rolling down your butt crack?
I mean, I don't have that great of an imagination. It is rather uncomfortable.
The bugs here are the size of small birds, and I hate it.
You hate it? How do you think I feel?
They're the size of large birds to her.
I kind of like their afternoon snack.
A mosquito bites me, and there's just a flare of flame as I hellish rebuke in response.
That is
bad. Using a spell slot ever.
It's not even a spell slot, it's my daily racial power.
So Avtok, you said that you are taking point. Just pushing your way through.
Yep.
All right. Are you just mindlessly charging ahead? Are you looking for something? Are you
Heading downstream, following inside of the river. No idea what I'm looking for. That's just the directions I heard.
great? So your I'm going to say elephantine, but your Loxodon ears, wind up hearing this little rattling noise. And as you look around, you can
Stop
see it appears that 5 feet away, there are these large leafed plants that have like this kind of 1 foot conical like almost like a pine cone when it's like closed up and hasn't fully blossomed, but like that's at the center, like almost like that's the blossom itself. And when you look over these points, these pine cones, like they look like they're rattling, almost like if you've ever seen a rattlesnake kind of like shake and move. So as you look, you can see that it's got viney tendrils that seem to go all over the place. And you're standing on, one of these vines. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw as these conical plants begin shooting out whatever these, bristles or spines that are wrapped up.
First time rolling my easy roller dice. Here we go. That is a solid 10.
That is a solid 10. Why don't you tell me what it looks like as these things kind of come into you for 11 points of damage?
Avtok falls to his knees and screams, "They got me! They got me!" I don't know what they look like attacking me, but that's what Avtok looks like.
So imagine if you were to take a pine cone, but as opposed to, having the big wide, leaf-like, pieces, they're all like, sharp and pointy at the ends that kind of flare out.
I imagine it's sticking into my leg like a burr then.
So when they when the thing shook, these things opened up and it shot out in an area, and it just so happens that as big as Avtok is, he triggered it and blocked it from hitting anyone else. But you've been impaled by some kind of interesting plant that you weren't on the lookout for.
Well,
We
at least
still
we know
understand.
those ones are dangerous now.
You just got porcupine by a plant.
By a pine cone.
So
Are you,
yeah, I'm gonna set Speranza next to Avtok. I'm going to draw my saber, and I'm just gonna take up a guard position while you guys handle this.
Does it seem like it was just a reaction to walking by it, or these seem sentient?
The rattling has stopped. It does appear as a defense mechanism of the plant.
are you okay there, Avtok?
Yeah, it just caught me by surprise. I'll stand up. I can walk it off. Let's go. We'll
Let
just keep
me
an eye
take a
out for
look.
those.
Trust me, I'm a barber.
I can't trust anyone, or I can't not trust anyone with that glorious of a beard.
And is he like impaled by these pine cone things?
Yeah, there's numerous spikes. Looks like there's 11 of them, kind of stuck in him.
From within my beard appears a monocle, so I can look closer. The beard just holds it up, and I'm looking closer at these tendrils of beard, or looking around them. Does it look like they can be removed without causing further harm?
Yeah, they don't appear to be barbed or serrated in any way.
Pulling them out releases the poison.
They're not gonna. It doesn't look like they will cause further harm in removing them. But I mean, we're talking about things a good 3-4 inches long, and they're each one is in him like a good solid inch or more to cause that kind of damage.
Good thing I have thick skin. They'd have gone right through Speranza.
Yeah, they would have.
Yikes. We'll have to keep an eye out on these. And I'm just going to start pulling them out quickly.
Sure.
Bloop, bloop, bloop,
So
bloop, bloop,
they
bloop,
have like almost like a barky texture to them as your beard kind of begins wrapping around each one and slowly pulling it out. They feel sharp, and you're almost cautious of like, should I use my fingers or do I just keep using the beard? It's definitely a worry of will your beard get cut by these things as sharp as they are.
Well, we will certainly have to be careful around these.
Avtok will now be on the lookout for rattle cones.
I'm going to clap my hands. Servants at the ready! And I'm going to cast Unseen Servant while they're all doing that. And, once that ritual is done, I will say, now you take point. We can't have any more elephants stepping on things. Yeah, so my Unseen Servant is going to take the head of the group.
Sure. So it just begins, tromping ahead its way through the underbrush as you continue marching downstream.
Hey, Joshy.
Yes.
What's
His name is David. I knew you would ask because names are so important.
Well, yeah, because otherwise it's just, hey, you, and then everyone's going to start talking. That just draws things out.
Exactly. And then I have more names to memorize, and I don't have a mind like an elephant.
So eventually, good couple hours go by. You manage to notice and avoid a handful of these rattle cones as you have begun calling them. There's a couple close calls as they begin to, rattle and shake and deliver things, but you manage to back off or call the Unseen Servant away from where these deadly little spines shoot off. But eventually the jungle kind of begins to become less dense, and you can hear the sound of more rapidly moving water, whether it's a waterfall or all of a sudden the stream picks up. You're not quite certain. And then, as you get closer, you can begin hearing the sounds of other kinds of life. There must be people of some kind living near the stream, as you hoped there would. Do you continue or do you approach cautiously? What is the plan?
Anything cautiously.
Blunder forward like a bunch of fools.
I mean, you're welcome to, but I'm no fool.
Gonna sheath my sword.
I'm actually looking very indecisive and looking at everyone else to see what they all think we should do.
As you guys are doing that, Avtok's like 20 feet ahead of you now because he didn't realize everyone stopped.
Oh boy. That one's just off and running half the time, isn't he?
Can't you see that David has stopped?
Well, he's unseen. It kind of makes it tricky. Unless you put like a hat or something on him. I don't know.
Put my big floppy wizard hat on David.
There's a floating floppy wizard hat.
Oh boy.
Don't lose it. That's been in my family for like 4 years. I got it 4 years ago.
So as you kind of get behind some cover, slowly approaching the uh, the settlement, as you look out, you can see that the stream does in fact not only come to a waterfall, but on the other side it opens up into a much larger area. There's a collection pool, if you will, and there's small huts, nothing nothing fancy. When you see the people moving around, you're kind of rather shocked. It's a quite an eclectic uh, selection. Initially you see some grung lizard folk, but there's some humans, halflings, half elves, and everybody seems to be living and working together. um, you know it doesn't match up. There's definitely uh, a vast difference of points of views of these kind of people, but here they seem here it seems normal.
We should
Or-
probably ask if any of them have seen the shrine.
Yeah,
Speranza's looking for children.
Didn't they say the shrine was worshipped in some divine manner? Perhaps these people are backwater folk who hold this shrine as something of high divine value, and maybe we'll upset them by trying to find it.
well, don't call them backwater, first of all, and secondly, just don't call them. She's gonna run up if she
Just
sees like a
don't call
child
them.
standing.
Just Joshua, don't do anything. Just stay over there.
Just don't, because you're gonna piss people off with that type of talk. I'm pretty sure about that one.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm very down to earth.
Fine, David and I have paperwork to
sure.
go over anyway.
So what is the choice? What are you guys doing?
I believe that Speranza is looking for children.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's to speak with like one of the kids to try and get more information.
So it does appear that on the other side of the bank, there's a clearing that there are some children. Maybe it's hard to tell. I don't know what your exposure to other races in the more scaly kind, but there's definitely some very small grung and some smaller lizard folk, a human child, maybe 9-10 years old, that all
It's
seem
just
to be
reptile halflings.
kind of playing in and around the water. They don't seem that anyone's watching. Doesn't seem like there's any problems about.
How far across the bank are they?
So I mean the you're talking like 20 foot of water, of the river, and then they're playing probably a good 30 feet away from the water, but they come, they're kids, they're running around, they're playing, so sometimes they come up and splash in the water and then run back out. And
You're basically standing at the edge of the water, just going,
Excuse me, hi, hey y'all.
so instantly, they all kind of like freeze and look in your direction. The grung like kind of literally leaps behind the lizard folk, and the lizard folk and the human kind of look at you, and they almost kind of uh, not growl, but they begin speaking, uh, and it's more of that the sound. Well, first of all, let me ask: do you speak Draconic? I'll ask that.
oh god, this is like the first character I purposely didn't take that because I always take Draconic, and you know that.
Wow. So like their response comes across, and it's very growly and deep, even as children it seems a little weird. Is there anyone in the party who speaks Draconic?
Is there anyone in the party that has tongues?
Well, I mean, if I have a few minutes, I could probably understand what they're saying, but it takes me just a little bit of time to get ready.
So as the group of you kind of all look around, the kids kind of look back and forth to each other, and the human shakes her head, and she begins speaking again, and this time it comes out in the common tongue, but the words seem to come a little slowly, almost as if it's unpracticed. Hello? Who? You?
Hi, me, Speranza. You?
Jirah?
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 Hi.
Do you need something?
Yeah. The shrine? Might you know where?
She kind of like looks to the others, and she darts away.
They're not quite so sociable as the kids that I tend to run into. They might need a little coaxing, or we might have to go find the adults.
So what do you guys do?
Well, if that child was frightened at all, I'm fairly certain the adults will be showing up post-haste.
So, before too long, a lizard folk winds up kind of coming out of one of the buildings. They've got a head frill that's comes up the top of their head all the way down their neck, and then even begins to come down their spine. Not things that you normally see. Scales of dark green mixed with mottled with light green, but the frill is bright and colorful, and the eyes almost seem to shine, very vibrant blue. And as they kind of take you in, the mouth opens, and in a better common than the child was speaking. Greetings, travelers. We are not used to seeing folk come to places like this. Why do you lurk?
Oh, we're looking for the shrine.
To what end?
To fix it?
I have a wrench in my trunk.
I require more information. What is wrong with it?
So, are you aware that the normal magic is all on the fritz right now?
We do not have many in the way of practitioners, though our caretaker, their magic is fine.
Caretaker.
One who deals in spells of nature.
Might we speak to your caretaker?
They are silent for a moment, and this very bizarre looking lizard folk takes at least a good solid 10 seconds. It's almost uncomfortable as they take 10 seconds looking at each of you, taking all of you in, sizing up. Is there armor, weapons? What kind of threat? You can see that there's not a lot of village here. Maybe a dozen huts in a large building. There's looks to be a very ample river. So perhaps it's just a small fishing village. And when you look at how adorned your beardomancer is, how snappily dressed your onomancer is, I imagine
My hat.
even you, Chess, dress very eloquently. You are all out of place in a very simple setting such as this. This lizard folk isn't adorned with any kind of clothing, jewelry, anything at all. But his claws and teeth look sharp. How trustworthy are you?
Why would anybody ever answer anything but completely?
And Abtalk's in the middle of saying, depends on the situation.
Look.
And like Joshua's like wavering his hand back and forth.
I mean,
We're-
just stops to look at them, and then she looks.
She's trustworthy, I say, pointing at Speranza.
I have absolutely no reason to deceive anyone. Would I lie?
Joshua looks at Speranza and wavers his hand back and forth again.
I'm gonna step on your foot.
To answer your
But-
question, one can easily say, well, yes, I am trustworthy. But
Yeah, but that doesn't make much of a difference. It's more based on their action than the words that they actually have coming out of their mouth.
But those who are used to lying have a way of broadcasting that they do so.
Especially when standing in a zone of truth.
We are here on behalf of the Magic Council. We just came from the Sanctum. There's something going on with the magic. It's not working the way that it should be. We are here because we practice magic that isn't within the confines of the normal 8 schools. We're a little bit divergent in our practices. So we've been sent to check the situation out. There is a divination
This-
nexus in this area.
This is more than I want to hear.
I just don't know what to say for a second because nobody's ever like cut me off mid ramble like that before, and I just look so offended.
Look, basically, it boils down to this. We just want to fix the problem and get the hell out of here. That's really all we're looking to do.
But you
Other than the rattle cones,
you
that's like it.
understand the place that you are seeking. Countless have died to try and claim its powers.
Oh, but it's not a matter of claiming. It's a matter of just readjusting and making sure everything's all right. We have no interest in souping up our special powers or anything like that. Because quite frankly,
Also, if we die in the process, then we're not your problem anymore.
that's true.
Also,
It's sort of like a
Joshua's
self-cleaning issue.
Well,
Joshua's a little uncomfortable because he is entirely devoted on sealing up his special powers.
the things at which you speak.
My beard
perhaps
trimmer.
the caretaker will heed
For
your
the cover.
call. Perhaps the caretaker will heed your call, and they will make a decision as to whether or not we pass along the information.
Okay.
You are not lying about wishing to cause trouble. So I will allow you into my town. But should I be proven wrong, you will not like the consequences.
Acceptable.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair. I'd probably be doing the same thing, quite honestly.
And as he turns around and you see, the bright colors, in this frill, it just slowly begins to settle down and almost blends in, perfectly, and it's not raised any longer. It's not. You can't see any of the bright colors anymore. His tail kind of swishes at some of the the higher grass as he steps kind of into the actual open area of the town, and you can hear some whispered voices that are behind the building that he is passing.
Hey, Ordo,
Yes.
can you put some of that shade of blue in my hair?
You want all of your hair to be that color blue, or do
No,
you?
just a little bit. Just like the front lock.
That's absolutely something I can do.
We'll talk about that after we get out of here. I don't want him to think I'm copying him. Even though that's absolutely what I'm doing.
I take an extra close look at the blue.
The
Make
blue
sure.
of his eyes. Is that what you're talking about?
I thought the frill was blue.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was very brightly colored. I didn't describe it, but that's fine.
I just assumed it was blue because he said something about blue and it got some wires crossed in my head.
There we go. The frill was blue. It's now canon. So I assume you guys follow him into the village.
Yes.
So as you step in, you definitely have a handful of people, again, of those mixed races. All seem to be looking like they're doing something, but they're clearly just standing agape at this lot. An elf, a dwarf, a halfling, a loxodon, and a tiefling, none of which are in this particular village. There's half elves, but no elves that seem to have made them. So perhaps it's been a generational thing. But as stated, there are some reptilian races here. You definitely see some grung that are off in one of the little buildings that there's no door. It's just like an open almost canopy that's closed in on three sides, and they're chittering and chatting away in their tongue, but like one of their eyes is off this way and the other off this way, like completely watching the lot of you walk through town as you get to the other side. And here you have this large hut. It's not the large building that seems to be like a gathering place, but it's definitely larger than the other huts, and it seems to have a multitude of woods worked into its outer surface. It looks like some large bones have been kind of gathered to create an archway that frames the door that is made of a dark black wood that doesn't match anything else here in town. And then this is the doorknob. Actually is the only thing that seems to be made entirely in this town of metal. Everything else seems to be all natural ingredients, or building materials, if you will. And it looks alien. It looks completely out of place. But this lizard folk kind of raps at the door, growls something in that reptilian tongue that you heard the others speak before. He opens the door, gestures, inside, and then begins kind of walking away.
Okay, onward and inward.
I mean, that's basically like an invitation to come on in, isn't it?
So do you hesitate or do you walk in?
Nope, just walks right in.
Yep.
Doot, doot, doot.
I do like rap on something to like get his attention.
I hesitate. I definitely hesitate.
So as you walk in, everything that you would expect out of a, for lack of a better word, a witchy druid is what you're going to see in this place. All of the, bizarre concoctions. There's the totally a cauldron, sitting over top of a fire. There's a rudimentary shelf that's been cobbled together with odd reagents and things in jars and bowls, some that have lids, some that are just open to the elements. You see frogs hopping around, completely loose. You see that there are lizards crawling around the wall. As you look up and see the smoke, it's got that kind of thatched roof that leads to a chimney top that's just been made out of a hollowed out tube of a tree. And as interesting as all of this is, it almost kind of pales in comparison to the bizarre concoction of a creature that you see sitting at the cauldron. Half of their face seems to be scaled like a lizard folk, where the other side seems almost fair and beautiful. You can see what if you were to cover the one half, you would say that they're completely elven. But when you look at the other side, it's not lizard folk because it doesn't have the pronounced jaw. It doesn't have everything that you would expect from the typical lizard folk. They're not as large and powerful, but as they stand up, there is some kind of tail that seems to like swish and knock something over. Their voice comes out scratchy and weird. So, outsiders that have come to call, you ask for bizarre information in these times.
What makes it bizarre in these times in particular?
What do you know of the history of the location you seek?
Only that it's a divination nexus.
That it might be, but wisdom and power is said to be able to bestow upon those who seek it. Its location is sacred to some. It has caused much grief in these lands. Those who dwell in this simple village without a name prefer to keep its location safe. For while you see what is here, there is a bit of harmony, but in the past. And she gestures towards her face on one side and then towards the other. And as she does so with this hand, the hand seems feminine and pale, but as this hand lifts up and kind of gestures towards the scales, very much in that very lizard focused fashion, long black claws stick out. The others, the past, have fought and died, but we have a sense of harmony, a sense of unity. Skag says that you only wish to fix a problem.
Yes. I'm gonna note this place down in my notes as Riverside because you're on the Riverside. Is that okay with you?
You can call it what you will. We have not given it a name.
After talking that, we'll be like, oh, it's the town without the name. I thought the people living here were nameless.
It would be very wise of them to remain nameless.
Talk communicates better in writing. So I'm going to just give a brief TLDR description of the issue that's going on, trying to keep it brief because I was just told basically by that guy that he didn't care what I was talking about.
Magic broke, we fix. Done.
Well, that, to be fair, does seem like a problem that does not seem to apply here. You have pledged to my friend that you are not seeking problems or seeking to cause trouble, but to fix things.
Yes.
So, in order to allow you to fix things, what might you fix here in payment for this information?
Oh, like in the village?
Yes.
Well, what needs fixing?
I am not going to give you a solution to your needs.
Well, no, I mean, no, but we're trying to help you with the solution to yours, and we don't know what those needs are.
It sounds like you want us to possibly fix some things for you, but you're not telling us what's broken.
Didn't have a name, and she named it. That fixed something.
She's not talking. She is sitting there watching you.
Is this a riddle?
You are seeking information.
Yes.
I am asking payment.
Yes, but you're not actually telling us what the payment is. You're saying figure it out ourselves.
What can you do to make life better here?
Well, do you have anything that needs slaying?
You don't look like an assortment of warriors.
I just kind of glance down at my sword and once again look mildly offended.
And you'll hear something like fall and crash, and I've accidentally knocked over a pot, and really quickly I scoop it up and mend it back together, and just put it back on the shelf. That was there the whole time. I didn't.
Okay, so maybe to start with, we tell Joshua to leave.
Well, I mean, he already fixed something.
So the thing, cracks open, and whatever was inside, oozy and slimy, and a variety of tendrils and tentacles that you kind of scoop back up into the pot as the slime is now coating your hands.
So sorry.
Avtok's going to excuse himself to the restroom, and then while he's out, he's going to try and find any flower blossoms, seed pods, or bud blooms, and use Druidcraft to make them all open and make the town prettier while he's out as help. And I'll be right back.
Okay. Do your people have to worry about bug bites? Some real big bugs out there.
There are some bugs, but while it might be a problem for some of our people, others have a little bit thicker skin for that kind of problem.
So this has to be something that will make things improved for everyone and not just the fleshy ones.
You all seem interesting.
Thank you, I think.
More than you know. But do, go on.
That word a lot. I don't always know what it means in conjunction to the moment.
Well, none of your kind exist here. And I'm not trying to be creepy or ask you to stay. You have things that you wish to do. Just not used to seeing your kind of folk.
No one got me. I'm not trying to be creepy.
As simple folk here, perhaps it might do you some good to shuck off the things that you are used to.
I immediately start taking my shirt off.
And help out around the town. Can you hunt? Can you fish?
Yes.
Can you build? What can you do to make life better here in this town? I did not think it was a riddle or a challenge. Just looked to help our people have a better life through aid of some apparently wanderers that are seeking information that is trying to be kept away from the kin of this place.
So I'm like folding my silk shirt and it's got like ruffles on it and stuff and like setting it aside as I'm talking and I'm just like, okay, like when you said do something to help improve the town, I thought you meant on a more permanent basis and not like go do some chores. I don't mind going and doing some chores. I really wish you would have just said that, but we'll be back.
Well, I mean,
and maybe revisit this topic.
You could have gone out and looked and investigated the town. I mean, some of you look like you are designed with some brains, but you sat there and looked at me with glassy eyes, waiting for all the problems to be just answered.
Sorry, they're not glassy eyes. They're actually glass.
I was just wondering if you were trying to see if we could help you with what happened to you.
Or like something in particular, but I don't actually have to sit here and be insulted. I'm just gonna go do the thing you asked us to do and I'll talk to you later. And I'm just gonna get up and leave.
I will follow and hope there's things muscly to do.
Anyone stay or do you all leave?
The Speranza kind of will still stop.
You know, we really just wanted to try and help. And quite frankly, I mean, I understand what you were saying and that helping that we'd get the hint, but when people are genuinely looking to help, sometimes just say what you need help with. It saves time, and it's sometimes the more mature way of handling things.
And she'll turn on her heels and walk out the door.
I just look at her and I say, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to admit that you need help. You just have to ask for it.
It was supposed to be a trade. What you are asking is not easily given. It actually, through what this place has suffered, sharing the knowledge that I have worries me, challenges me. So in order to do so, I must challenge those who seek the information.
But if there's something wrong here, and the reason we have come is because there's every indication magic is not functioning the way it's supposed to here, so By that very logic and very purpose, we are already the ones here doing you a favor. And we're not doing it asking for anything in return. We just want to know where the shrine is so that we can investigate the cause and fix it.
But my magic is fine.
I suspect there's
But-
a reason that your magic is...
And what of the magic of the outside world? If others who have similar magics to this source can't use theirs, they might come looking, and soon your nameless town might lose its innocence as outsiders come seeking this shrine like us. Except they may not be doing what we're doing. They may not be trying to solve a problem. They may just be looking for, well, I don't know, a way of enforcing their own power.
You derive your nature, your magic, from the nature around here, yes?
Indeed.
You deal in magics of a natural order, I would assume.
Yes.
And perhaps I believe that is why your magic is continuing to function. You don't draw upon the same arcane traditions that others of, well, our kind, and by our kind, I mean of a more wizardly stature. You don't draw on the same magics that we do. So you're not experiencing this. You're off the grid, you could say. But as Joshua was saying, there are many out there all throughout the realm who are struggling because they have lost connection to this source of magic.
Interesting. So is this personal to you? Is this something that you, at the core of your being, truly wish and need to have fixed and resolved?
That is a very interesting question that you pose. Well, I'm sure that my answer and Joshua's answer, Avtalk and Speranza, and even Chess, they will perhaps all have slightly different answers. But I know for myself, I have studied at the finest schools of barbery and medicine. I've spent many years grooming my own and other beards, and the arcane powers that are woven within the very fibers of that magic. But in doing so, I have also studied alongside abjurers, evokers, conjurers, illusionists, even divinators. We all work together within the world, pulling from the weave of magic, giving back. But now there is an imbalance. So I would seek to right that balance.
Interesting. And is there a sacrifice that you would make for this information so that you would be able to have all of this corrected, not only for you, but for all those troubled souls out there now and later?
You know, if I didn't know any better, and perhaps I don't, I would suspect that you are the very reason that this magic is not working. You seem to be hindering us at every step of just trying to find out what the problem is, demanding sacrifice. Wizards all across the realm have sacrificed their ability. You can't tap into this magic. Is that not enough for you?
As stated, I am not trying to prevent you. I am trying to prevent the knowledge of this place, for it's widely known of the history as why this particular shrine exists in such a dense population of life, to hide itself, because the power of knowledge is immense. To know of things to come, to know, to truly know when you are to make a decision that it is the right one. It is terrifying. Have you ever been so sure of any particular decision that you have made that there is either 100% certainty that it will fail or succeed? No chance of it going awry. That certainty is what is being hid. I can tell you that I don't dabble or practice the magics at which you speak, and I have not tempered or touched or messed with this shrine. I would not lay myself against the gods and the weave itself to mess with this. I have touched the shrine once, and for its brief knowledge, its certainty that laid upon me, it changed me. For in that time, I just knew with every breath, every footfall, every motion of my body what the outcome of that would be. For a time, I was broken. I could not make a bad choice, and at first, it was grand. But when everything works your way, and then it stops, the doubt, the fear of not knowing any longer, I immediately wanted to rush back. And it was only through my allies that forcibly held me down until I got a better sense of myself, that I could return to some semblance of a normal life. Those who would seek that knowledge, it must be guarded. And I don't mean to insult or offer petty chores. I am seeking to test your character. I am seeking to find out who you truly are, and if that, just the knowledge of that place can be passed upon your hands, knowing what you will do with it. That is why I go through these charades.
Tis not lost on us the importance of this shrine and the great efforts that you go to conceal it from us, even though we tell you we are here to help. If it's not menial chores, if it's a representation of our character, seek, tell us what we can give. Tell us what we can do. Because we can do whatever chores you want around the village. We can attempt to make your life easier here. But we could do so for days, weeks, or months. Perhaps never live up to your expectations.
When one's guard is down, when they are doing the menial labor and engaged in conversation, they are focused on the task and share more easily as to who they truly are. For some, it comes easy. For others, it takes time. I don't have the true power to know if I can trust your words here and now. But in the actions, in the conversations that follow, that is where your character comes out. As the conversations talk in truth and honesty about deeds and history of what you've done previously. The folk of this little place will tell me, will share in the life and the story. As you, to use the expression, break bread and share a meal, tell jokes, share in that common course of dining. Not that what we would offer here would pass for dining for one such as yourself, but to do these things again, you give a little of yourself and break away the barriers that would come for those who would offer deceit in place of these barriers. We will truly know who you are and can judge from that time as to whether or not the words that you have spoken are fact or fiction.
I understand. But could you not learn those same things by simply talking to us? Or you wish for us to not be performing?
It can be done through a conversation, but it is much harder. And now that you have forced me to share this, to defend my position, the task is that much harder for us. For it's very easy for you to go talk to your friends and say, this is the plan, this is how we deceive, this is how we convince, so that we can gain the power that we seek, if that is in fact the ploy. And I'm not saying that it is, but if it were, I am not a trustworthy person. I have not had an easy life. Those here could easily come and go. And if I were to give you this information, you take the power, you could lead others here, and it would destroy this place. The civilized world could not coexist with the power of the shrine and nature itself. We would lose.
It is very understandable where you are coming from. I In my studies, as I said, I studied at the most prestigious barber academy and have served in barber shops, treating people's hair and beards and tending to dentistry and minor surgeries and such, as barbers are often required to do. But one of the things that is most common when I'm giving a haircut, or shaving a haircut as it were, often the people in my chair, they find themselves in a position of great comfort. Through casual conversation, often reveal much more of themselves than they would think to so casually divulge to a stranger. But when in my presence, there's a comfort. They often reveal facets of themselves they would prefer to be hidden. I can tell you this. Never once have I divulged any of their secrets, because what happens in the chair stays in the chair. Now, I realize that's me giving you my word and asking you to take me at my word. That I will not take what you have told me and divulge it to my friends. Do you believe that I am a skilled beardomancer, knowledgeable in the beardic magics?
I'm sorry, it sounded like half a question.
It was a full question, non-rhetorical.
Okay.
Do you believe that I am practiced user of the arcane magics of beardomancy?
My knowledge of the arcane is, at this point in time, I would say probably less than what you have. I can clearly see that you have magics, and unless you are using some other force to make your beard move, truth be told, I had never heard that one could magic their beard, but this world is a crazy place. But if you were to say, yes, beardomancy exists, then yes, I can believe that if such a thing exists, you have studied it.
Then, as a symbol of good faith, and as I say this, one portion of my beard sort of rearranges, the big braid undoes itself, and smaller braids sort of form. And I reach up and grab a hold of the top of one of these braids, and with barely a motion, disconnect this braid about 4 inches long of my beard. From within the beard, a capsule emerges, a beard capsule, and it opens, and then I place that piece of beard braid in there, close it, and then it settles in my hand, and I hold it out to them.
So
As a beardomancer, I'm very protective of the very trimmings and clippings of my own beard, for they are a portion, they are components of spells, and in and of itself a focus of my magic. As a magic user yourself, you know the importance of components, particularly those personal to the gesture of good faith. I give you a braid of my beard.
Reagents are indeed potent, and possibly more so to myself than you might even be aware. She gestures out with her little, or with the lizard-like claws and snatches up. Not like grabs, but like
Right.
carefully plucks it out of your hand, and it's placed very carefully upon the shelf, so it's not gonna roll and fall off. A couple things move to secure it in the location before she turns back. Sup with us this evening. Talk to your allies. And as long as no trouble unfolds while we eat in the morning, I will divulge this information.
I will go to my friends. I will tell them that we are to sup with you this evening, and I will say nothing more for our deal. I will bow deeply.
And she returns it in equal amount.
Then I will head out, and as I head out, I sort of look around looking for the others, and I just roll up my wizard sleeves. All right, what needs doing?
So you find me making lobster traps. I'm like sitting at the riverside, probably like with a small cadre of lizard folk, like just making wooden lobster traps and asking all kinds of questions about how they do things here.
So you've actually, if you're making traps, you've got probably an equal number of lizard folk and grung, and communication's a bit of an issue. It seems that not everybody here knows common. The half elves, do speak Elven for those who happen to know that particular language. But those who have interest, you begin picking up some common phrases of Draconic. So, you can begin piecing some stuff there. But you're warned to be careful around bumping into the grung, as their skin has a bit of an effect should you touch it and not be a grung.
So I'm like imagining that a lot of this communication is being done through like just doing something and then watching them do the same thing on their trap, and I'm like showing them how to do it the way that we did it back in the glade, and then like learning how they're doing it as well, and then maybe like making some subtle improvements and like learning to improve my own by watching the way that they're doing it, and that's just how I've been spending this time.
Avtok started trying to help by bending trees and tying them to the lobster traps, so when a lobster went in, it would pull it out automatically, but the first few flung way too far, and so he had to find another way of making this happen, and so far it's not working.
But it was very funny, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who laughed.
Avtok didn't. He probably had to go trudging into the jungle to find more traps that launched.
I just picture this very Avatar: The Last Airbender scene where some of these grung or lizard folk are helping out, and then one gets set off, and a couple of them are flung off into the woods.
Avtok sheepishly starts working on something else after that.
Avtok, the last tree bender.
All right. We need to see that one. Somebody art that up for me. So the next several hours wind up, going by, whatever it is that you're doing.
There are several grung children that for the next 8 hours will sport a beard that is the same color as whatever color grung they are. As I cast beard growth on them. Only with permission, or what I interpret to be permission.
One procreate, two for now.
And it's important to note that I can cast it without touching them.
Excellent.
It has a range.
At one point, Joshua will have walked up to a grung and patted it on the head and just said, "Oh, what a cute little thing you are."
and some interesting effects wind up applying based on what type of grung you touched.
How many different colors are there?
I mean, there is a multitude.
Yeah, blue, green, yellow, red.
Coming from, all
Do you-
the four primary colors.
I was going to roll a dice if you had a list of any effects in front of you, but
I don't.
all right, I'll figure it out on my own. So after whatever effect that is, and the grung probably croaked something terrible at me that I didn't understand, I decided it's time to take a few minutes and cast Comprehend Languages.
Okay.
Ace, roll a d6.
I already did. I rolled a 3.
So you got a purple one.
Okay, what happens?
You are poisoned and feel a desperate need to soak yourself in liquid or mud. You can't take actions or move except for to do so to reach a body of liquid or mud.
Okay,
And then
so
you're in
I'm
the
gonna
river right here.
go like shamble into a low part of the river and just kind of like lay back like it's a hot spring, and then just what a lovely place to be, and then cast Comprehend Languages.
Totally see you just like cannonballing into the water.
Touch a gold one.
Flashing, any on the river edge that are sitting there making lobster traps.
Oh yeah.
Kids are loving it. You end up causing others to follow suit and create a mess.
I found these cookies that I'm going to now eat in the river.
You spend a couple hours, doing some fun and interesting things. Meeting the folk here. They definitely seem, simple but enjoyable. All of them have stories to tell and things that there's no grand adventures. There's no things, unless they want to talk about the crocodile. But the adults are like, hush, hush, hush. And then, eventually as the light begins to disappear behind the canopy, the fire hall is lit, and people begin gathering together to have a common meal. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. We'll be back next month for episode 3 and see what antics these guys all get up to, and see whether or not they're able to ascertain the location of this particular shrine and get things moving on towards being fixed, or whether something else happens.
Ourselves again with more grung.
So
That or Josh starts licking them.
I felt like a big part of that was us failing to pick up what you were putting down.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I kind of like the way it played out.
Sure.
Oh, that was so good.
So please do all of these fine people, a favor. Check out the links down in the description below. Follow them on socials. Check out their channel and what have you. Buy Robin's books. Whatever it is you got to do. And of course, if you need Easy Roller Dice is the way to go. Use that promo code. Do all those things, and you know how it goes. Until next time. Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Nerdy.